Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today, as you can see, and also I'm sure as you could tell by the title, we get to look at the unbelievably amazing Mattel Brachiosaurus. This is a figure that a lot of us have been waiting for a very long time here in the United States. A lot of other areas like the United Kingdom have already had them for quite a little while now, so it's not such exciting news to them. But here in the US, we have not had our opportunity to get a hold of these, and we now officially have since this past Sunday, when Mattel finally got around to stocking the targets, and boy, it has been rough trying to get a hold of one because they only really get about one or two in at a time in my area, and every single time they seem to sell out instantly. So it's been a bit of a problem. I do apologize if the light here isn't that great because with this thing being so huge, I can't actually put up my normal lights to brighten the screen or anything, but what we can see here is the unbelievably nice box that Mattel has graced us with. I love this box. I think that the artwork is super cool. If we turn it around, we've of course got the Jurassic World logo there on the side, and then if we completely turn it around and then flip it over, this image is just so insanely cool. You've got the image of Alan, Ellie, and John Hammond down there, that iconic scene from Jurassic Park, even though this wouldn't exactly be the position that it was occurring in, with the Brachiosaurus in front of them on this side and everything. But regardless, it's still absolutely beautiful artwork. I love the box of this. It's probably the single best box that has ever come out with the Mattel figures, and really, honestly, is just unbelievable looking. It's the type of thing I almost want to frame. I wish I could just get a poster of this specific artwork right here and eliminate all the words and everything on the package, because it would be so cool to have that framed. But regardless, I have waited long enough to see this figure. Let's go ahead, get it out of the box, and take a look at it. Well, here is our Brachiosaurus, and my word, is this thing massive. This is easily the biggest dinosaur figure that I have reviewed on Andy's Dinosaur Reviews so far. It is just unbelievably huge, just ridiculously huge. I had no idea it was going to be quite this big. I knew it would be big, but boy, this is blowing me away. It is unbelievably huge. I can't say that enough. I cannot stress that enough. If you don't have this figure quite yet, you will be absolutely amazed when you break this out and take a look at it, because it is just gigantic. It actually comes in three parts. You've got the main body, and then you've got the tail and the neck separate. You have to connect those, but they do connect quite easily. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt is really beautifully done. Honestly, it looks exactly like the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus. Just the sculpt right here alone really brings me straight back to the scene with Alan and the kids in the tree looking at the Brachiosaurus and feeding it. I can just envision this Brachiosaurus coming up and chomping down on the food right there in front of them. It really does look quite amazing. The overall sculpt is so spot on to what the Brachiosaurus looks like in Jurassic Park that it is absolutely mind-blowing just how good of a job Mattel does. I say it all the time, Mattel has pretty much been a gift when it comes to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, because the sculpts of their figures, I think, are so much more spot on than any company has ever done previously. And yes, that obviously beats out Kenner when it comes to just how accurate the sculpts look. They absolutely blow me away every single time. You can see the eye is really nicely glossed there. Even the detail around the eye is just beautiful. Everything about the skin texture and everything on this looks exactly like the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus. You've even got the ears back there, right behind the eyes. The jaw is articulated, which opens quite nicely to a very nice length. You've got the teeth in there that are nicely painted. There doesn't appear to be any sloppiness or anything, as well as a beautiful gloss. You can also see that the tongue in general has a very nice texture to it. Really looks quite realistic, honestly. The glossy appearance really makes it look like real saliva in there. That is really well done on the part of Mattel. As you start to run down the neck, you can see lots of skin wrinkling going on like you would expect to see. You can also see that there's kind of like a dry brushing that's been done over top of it, which is really cool to see. Quite different than what we've seen in the past when it comes to Mattel figures. There's like this dry brushing of this darker kind of brownish color that goes over top of the gray, and it really gives it a very nice appearance as far as skin tone and just color variation in general. And then you can see you've got this lighter coloration on the throat, and it really nicely transitions down into that color. Everything about the paint looks very natural, They've also kind of done that dry brushing a little bit on the head. It's not quite as noticeable as you see here on the neck, but it's definitely there. The further down the neck you go, it's pretty much that same style of dry brushing and sculpt the entire way down. The neck is absolutely immense. In fact, it's pretty much impossible for me to actually get it in frame here. There, we can kind of get it in there, but now the light's a little too bright because I had to eliminate one, and now that is uneven as far as the lights go. This figure might be the most complicated review that I've ever had to do just because it's so insanely hard to fit it in frame. But you can see that the skin texture the entire way down the neck is just beautiful. I will take some outdoor shots of this to give you a better idea of exactly just how nice this looks in a little bit more natural light, because the lighting in here is going to be pretty bad for this review, like I said, just based on the fact that we can't really get it in frame or anything. As we move down here into the shoulder blade, you can really see the shoulder blade very nicely protruding from the skin right there. You've got all sorts of wrinkles in the skin right here on the side of the stomach, right in this area. I really like the way that that looks. I think they've done a phenomenal job overall on the skin texture of the figure, and it really makes it look like that very large animal that you would expect to see, but also just like the JP Brachiosaurus. I continue to say this, and I will say it throughout the entire review because it's just honestly amazing how good of a job they did as far as replicating this Brachiosaurus in every little detail that you would expect to see. Mattel has just totally nailed it on this figure. You can see how large and muscular the front legs look as you run down the leg. And we get down into the feet, and the feet also look phenomenal. They've done a very good job sculpting out the feet, again, to look just like the film version of the dinosaur. Unfortunately, there's no paint variation on the nails as opposed to what you see on the rest of the body, and oddly enough, I don't really see a gloss on the nails, which is very weird for Mattel, but I don't think it really takes away from the figure or anything, because honestly, it is so insanely breathtaking, you just can't help but to stare at it in awe, regardless of any slight downsides it may have. Look at that beautiful musculature right there. Really nice skin texture the entire way down the leg as well. And you can see, of course, the crease where the leg is connected, and of course that allows for the articulation, which it does have some decent articulation. Looking up here at the back, you can again see the areas of that dry brushing that's been done. It's once again a little tough to see with the lighting being so bad. This thing just takes up so much room. It's hard to really get good lighting for it. But you can see that nice dry brushing that's been done all over the place. And they just really went the extra mile as far as making sure that this looks really nice. It wasn't just one solid color of gray or anything. They've done a good job of varying the color. Push the neck up a little bit there. It does have neck articulation like you would expect on a gigantic Brachiosaurus. And then we come back here to the rear leg, and again you can see some skin folding and everything going on in there. Some really nice wrinkles, huge wrinkles just like a Brachiosaurus would have, or at least like it does in the film. You can see some osteoderms and stuff on the side of the leg here. Some really nice skin texture yet again, and very nice musculature. As we come down, you can see it has a very nice curve. You've got beautifully sculpted kneecaps right there in the front. Some really nice calf muscles, and then down here into the feet. You see the feet look great just like they do on the front. There is the seam right there where the foot is connected, but I don't think now. There's no articulation as far as the ankles. As we come back up into the body, you can again come out to the tail and take note of that nice dry brushing. It's been done the whole way through. So unlike a lot of Mattel figures where, like, with the attack packs and stuff, they kind of stop the paint at the tail, that is not the case with the Brachiosaurus. It runs all the way out the tail as far as that nice dry brushing, giving it beautiful color variation. I think the sculpt is also really great the whole way out the tail, and it comes out to a very nice point here at the end, which the light is a little bit in the way there. Really nice looking as far as the sculpt. I think everything as far as proportions go is really spot on as well, so Mattel just absolutely nailed it with this Brachiosaurus. Looking at the other side here, there's no difference really at all when it comes to any of the sculpt or detail in comparison to what you saw on the other side. It's pretty much exactly the same, aside from the legs being in a slightly different position. They're not in exactly the same spot, especially with the rear leg here. You can see the rear leg is back a little bit in comparison to the opposing leg there on the other side, but as far as sculpt and detail, everything looks the same pretty much as far as the skin texture and everything, the skin wrinkling. It all looks really good on both sides. Beautiful sculpt, that is for sure. Even the underside is really beautifully textured, and you can see that that color variation as far as that lighter color that's on the underside, that like creamy, almost a greenish coloration. In certain areas it looks a little lighter than that, but you can see that that does come to an end right here around the pelvic area, but it does look great. I love the color of this figure. I think they've done a great job replicating the Brachiosaurus coloration in figure form. Again, it's not going to look exactly like the Dinosaur did in the film, but I think it looks as good as it's going to get for something like this. And there is the Jurassic Facts app if you would like to add this Brachiosaurus to your collection. Shockingly enough, you could even see a little bit that alternate variation of color that appears to be dry brushed is even on the bottom of the feet in certain areas, so they really did an unbelievable job on this Brachiosaurus. Everything from the sculpt to the paint, absolutely mind-blowing. As far as the size goes on our Brachiosaurus, it's going to get a little dark up here. It's really a bit complicated to do this, so you're looking at about 28¼ inches high, or 71½, almost 72 centimeters for a height. That is ridiculously huge. As far as a length goes, and this is of course if we're holding it upright like this, if we stretch the neck out forward, which it can do, it would be significantly longer, but you're going to see it at about 38½ inches long, somewhere in that vicinity, or about 98 centimeters. So basically what that's telling you is that this Brachiosaurus is stinking gigantic, and to show you that, we will do a size comparison with Mr. Papo T-Rex, and you can see down here is our little T-Rex, and he doesn't normally look little, but in comparison to the Brachiosaurus, he is very small, ridiculously small, and I will continue to say ridiculous the whole time we look at this, because it is unbelievable how huge this Brachiosaurus is, and for only $50, man, Mattel really making dreams come true when it comes to this Jurassic World line. But regardless, if you can't tell just how large this is next to Mr. Papo T-Rex, then hopefully Robert Muldoon here can help give you an idea of how large this Brachiosaurus is. And again, look at how gigantic this is. That is so huge. Next to Robert Muldoon, you should definitely have an idea now that this Brachiosaurus is just the absolute biggest thing that I think I have in my collection. As far as articulation goes, of course, we've got the neck articulation, and that can go really far down and actually makes it look pretty darn creepy once the neck is down that far. I don't like that at all, and I mean, it helps for the Brachiosaurus to be able to eat from the ground if that's what you would like, and definitely a very cool playability standpoint, but I think that it's just a little too far, and it looks extremely odd and unnatural then once the neck is down that far, but that's just a very small gripe. I don't really mind it. It's just a little awkward looking when it gets down so far. If I were to display this, I would definitely keep the neck up like that, because I think that looks super nice and really natural, exactly what I would expect to see on the Brachiosaurus. Of course, you've got articulation in the legs, both front and back, really nicely articulate. It's a little stiff because I haven't really done this before, but they do move quite nicely. And then you've got articulation in the tail, which can go side to side. It doesn't actually go up and down or anything, just side to side. It also doesn't swivel or anything like a lot of other Mattel figures do, but I still think it is really nice articulation. And of course you do have the articulated jaw, which I had shown you previously. So overall, there's definitely a significant amount of articulation. I think more than enough, I would say. So this Mattel Brachiosaurus is definitely a dream come true when it comes to collectors of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park toy line. This thing is the type of Brachiosaurus we've been waiting for years, and honestly I never thought in a million years that we would get something like this from any line of the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World toys. Never thought I'd ever see something like this, so it is honestly amazing that we do in fact have this. Mattel is really, like I said before, making dreams come true for collectors. There are a lot of people out there that do like to complain about Mattel and the job they're doing when it comes to the Jurassic World toy line, and there are some very strange factors that go into it that even I get upset about, like the distribution of the toys and how hard it is to get a hold of them sometimes. It's definitely a pain in the butt, but we cannot dare deny that they are honestly trying their best and doing an incredibly good job at it of giving us exactly what we want and things that as collectors that we've hoped and dreamed for over the years. So they're not just basing their toys and figures off of what kids want. They look at us, the collectors, and really try to deliver for us as well. And I think personally that Mattel is doing an unbelievably good job of doing just that. Giving us this Brachiosaurus is just a gift to the collectors of the Jurassic Park toy line, and I am incredibly thankful to Mattel for that exact fact, because I never in a million years would have hoped or dreamt that I would own a Brachiosaurus like this that looks so insanely good when it comes to looking like the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus, and I could not be happier to have this in my collection, although I don't really know quite where to put it because I have no room at all for a figure this big. So unfortunately, this beautiful Brachiosaurus will probably sit in storage like most of my figures do until someday when I can pull it out and display it like it should be. I think Mattel absolutely nailed everything about this. When it comes to the sculpt, it is perfectly spot on to the Brachiosaurus from the film. I could not possibly pick out a single spot anywhere on this figure that doesn't look exactly what my brain is telling me the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus looked like. Especially the head area. It is so beautifully sculpted to resemble the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus in the head area. It is just mind-blowing how good this figure is as far as the sculpt and detail goes. Everything on this is just sculpted to the max and sculpted perfectly. You've of course got some very nice articulation, exactly what I would expect when it comes to a Brachiosaurus like this, and I'm really glad they didn't do extra articulation like a certain area in the neck or anything to make the neck articulate in two spots. I think that would have been too much, and it would have taken away from the beauty a little bit of this Brachiosaurus, and due to the fact that they did not go that route, I think everything, honestly, on this figure is perfect. I could not possibly pick a better Jurassic World toy than this right here. When it comes to anything that we've had so far, this is easily my favorite Jurassic Park figure, or Jurassic World figure, however you want to term it, from Mattel. That is without question absolutely amazing. So if you do want to buy one of these, you can either check your local Target or keep checking Target.com, because oddly enough it's been coming into stock but sells out in a few minutes repeatedly, kind of like we had with the Spinosaurus a while back. The only difference is it is actually showing up in store, which is great news if you do want to go ahead and get it in store. It's not going to be another Spino issue where we just don't have a chance to own it, obviously. So we can actually get it in store. Online is just a bit trickier. You have to sign up to be notified, and you should hopefully get notified and be able to grab one quickly enough. If not, again, check Target. They are restocking repeatedly. It's just that it sells out so quick. But again, it is pretty darn new, as it was just released this past Sunday, so hopefully the hype and desire for the figure will die down a little bit in the coming weeks, and everyone will have a chance to get one, as they then will be a little more common on the shelf. So again, check your Targets or check Target.com, and hopefully you'll buy one of these and acquire one, because honestly, they are amazing. This Brachiosaurus is awesome. So go do that, but before you do that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of any future videos, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.